tonight's Lakers game. Lakers-Raptors is a final. This is the Lakers postgame show. The Raptors got the best of LeBron, AD, and the Lakers tonight. The first loss of the NBA restart.
Lakers basketball is a final.
877-710 ESPN. Recapping Lakers basketball tonight from the NBA bubble in Orlando against the Raptors. It's the Lakers postgame show, tipping off now. Here's Alice Leewood.
Lakers lose to the Toronto Raptors, 107-92. The Raptors now 47-18 on the season. Lakers fall to 50-15. Only 6 more games left before the postseason starts for the Los Angeles Lakers. And I got to tell you, tonight was a great example of what a team performance from a type of organization and a squad that can beat anybody in the NBA. I know we don't talk that much about the Toronto Raptors, but that conversation should definitely start. And I know Raptors won last year, but without Kawhi Leonard, of course, people aren't expecting, at least walking into the season, for them to be competing for a championship. Lakers have played the Raptors twice this year. First time they played them was November 10th. And in that game, no Serge Ibaka, no Kyle Lowry, no problem for the Raptors. They won that game. And then tonight against the Raptors, it just shows you, I mean, this competition that the NBA has, and I know so much of the time we spend time talking about the Western Conference, how stacked the West is. There is incredible talent in the Eastern Conference. It's not just the Milwaukee Bucks, but a team like the Toronto Raptors, this should be a little bit of an eye-opener for the Lakers. Now, don't get me wrong. The world's not going to end. Certainly the Lakers can get right back on track on Monday when they play the Utah Jazz, but it should open your eyes a little bit. And one player specifically that I think it's very safe to talk about, we talked about him during the pregame show, how he's probably underappreciated. Kyle Lowry, 33 points in tonight's game, shot 50% from the field, 8 of 16. 5 of 9 from the three-point line, 12 of 15 from the free throw line. Why don't you throw in 6 assists and 14 rebounds on top of that? No answer for Kyle Lowry. No answer at all for Kyle Lowry. And I know typically we spend a lot of time talking about what the Lakers did wrong, and we will. We have plenty of time. We have an hour. But at the same time, you want to give credit to the other team. And I think this is a perfect example of giving credit to Kyle Lowry, giving credit to the Toronto Raptors, a very team-oriented style of basketball. It doesn't get any more team than that. In the pregame show, one of the things we talked about was they're all so unselfish. They know how to move the ball. They know how to play together on defense. They do all these little things that add up to an extremely tough 48-minute battle, and the Lakers saw some of that tonight against the Toronto Raptors. Now, let me also say, and I think this is fair to say, it's not every game the Lakers are going to go 10 of 40 from the three-point line. Lakers struggled. Just 25% from the three-point line. Every player struggled. Danny Green was 0 for 7 from the field, was 0 of 6 from the three-point line. And I'm sure we'll probably get calls on that. Danny Green, 2 games so far in this restart, has struggled, and his inconsistency has continued from the regular season. KCP was 1 of 4 from the three. You had Anthony Davis 1 of 3 from the three-point line. LeBron went 2 of 5. Dion Waiters went 2 of 6. Caruso went a 3. And Markieff Morris 0 of 5 from the three-point line. So Lakers as a team struggled. Now, if you have a good three-point shooting night, maybe this is a completely different game. But I will say this, and I think this is one of those where, like I mentioned, you give credit where credit is due. The Raptors came out up 13-0. And by the time the Lakers crawled and came all the way back, which was great, that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see the Lakers continue to fight. But by the time they came all the way back, we had a game in the third quarter. Lakers were just down 2. But you felt like the Raptors, maybe control is too much of a word, but you felt like they were, in a sense, they were dictating what was happening in tonight's game. Raptors outscored the Lakers in the fourth quarter 35-22. I mean, that tells part of the story. Lakers had 18 turnovers. They were out-rebounded 51-40. So, there's a few key stats that you can look at, and you could see how the Lakers lost. But the Raptors, just for 48 minutes, more consistent, better team ball, felt like they were in more of a flow, hit big shots when the Lakers didn't. Lakers struggled from the three. You add all those together, you're going to lose to a extremely talented Toronto Raptors team, 107-92 the final score. I want to talk a little bit about Anthony Davis here real quick. By the way, as you guys know, if you want to be a part of the post-game show, 877-710-ESPN. I know we've been very fortunate to get a lot of Laker wins this year, and during a lot of these wins, I know the phone calls will light up. In losses, too, that's the case as well. So whatever your frustrations were in tonight's game, or is this, hey, Al, this is one game, not that big of a deal. You lost to a Toronto Raptors team that just played well for 48 minutes. Let's get ready for the Utah Jazz, and we'll regroup from there. Either way, whatever your thought is, 877-710-ESPN. Anthony Davis tonight, 35 minutes, just 7 field goal attempts. Shot 2 of 7 from the field. I mentioned he had those 3 3-pointers, went 1 for 3 from the 3-point line, and 9 of 9 from the free throw line. I don't need to say this. Everybody knows this. Not enough from AD. What we expect from Anthony Davis on a night-in, night-out basis is not 14 points and is not 7 field goal attempts. Now, there are a lot of times you want Anthony Davis to just, you want him to be more selfish. At the same time, you want to give the Raptors some credit. Really what the Raptors were decided to do, and this is going to be a challenge for the Lakers that they're going to have to figure out. But one of the things that the Raptors decided to do is if they have to double Anthony Davis to force a guy like Danny Green to have to take some threes, then they're going to take their chances with that. And Danny Green's going to have to prove he can hit some threes so they don't have to, so they can double on Anthony Davis. And you understand that approach. It makes a ton of sense. AD is so good. He's so talented. We spent most of the pregame show talking about how do you guard AD. This was one of the conversations. One of the conversations was you have to hope that Laker players are missing a lot of their jumpers. And if they are missing their jumpers, maybe then there's an opportunity to say, okay, well, until you start hitting threes or until, obviously the Lakers start hitting jumpers, then we're going to take our chances with that approach. That's what the Toronto Raptors did, and Anthony Davis never was in a flow. AD at halftime had 1 point. At halftime, had 1 point. I'm sure when we get a chance to hear from Anthony Davis, when we get a chance to hear from head coach Frank Vogel, they're going to give us their perspective. They'll give us their thoughts on, what AD was doing wrong or how AD could have had more than 7 shot attempts. But like I mentioned, the Toronto Raptors were all over Anthony Davis, and obviously their game plan on that front. That's going to force players like Dion Waiters and Alex Caruso and Danny Green and KCP. They're going to get open jumpers, and if they get open jumpers and they hit it, Lakers probably win this game. If they don't get those open jumpers or they're not hitting their jump shot, Lakers are going to struggle, and I think that has a lot to do with it. A couple other players that I just want to bring up here real quick. LeBron tonight, 20 points, 5 assists, 10 rebounds, 4 turnovers. 7 of 15 from the field and 2 of 5 from the three-point line. LeBron said something during the regular season that always stuck out, and I think it's fair to say. LeBron just had 5 assists tonight. Lakers obviously struggled. And we all know the saying, a make-or-miss league. And if the Lakers, hit some of the shots, they only shot 35% from the field, LeBron would say Lakers had a game similar to this during the regular season. And the next game, Lakers started hitting all their shots, and all of a sudden we were praising every player, and we were talking about the jumpers that the Lakers hit, and all of a sudden everything seemed okay. And LeBron said it's make or miss. Last game, if we were just hitting our shots, as long as they're getting the shots that they want. And that's what I'm most curious about when we hear from LeBron, when we hear from AD, when we hear from Coach. Did they get the looks they were looking for? Defensively, what are some of the strategy that they were hoping for, especially on a guy like Kyle Lowry, what they could have done better? Here's another name I'm going to throw out there, OG Anunoby, who you wouldn't expect to have 23 points tonight, 2 steals and 4 rebounds, shot 8 of 9 from the field. OG Anunoby. You expect that from Siakam. You don't expect that from OG. Siakam tonight had 15 points, 9 rebounds, but he struggled from the field. He was just 5 of 17. So it was really OG Anunoby that picked up the slack that came through, eventually ended up coming through for the Toronto Raptors, and that's certainly the difference of the game. All right, you've heard me talk about attorney Brad Wallace and the Wallace firm helping businesses affected by the COVID-19 government shutdowns. The Wallace firm also represents homeowners impacted by the Woolsey fire, victims of car crashes, and families of people who have been wrongfully killed. If you have suffered a serious loss, the Wallace firm are the serious lawyers to get you the W. No win, no fee. Call 844-844-WINS or visit wallacewins.com. When we come back, we'll hear from head coach Frank Vogel. Stay right here. This is a Los Angeles Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
You thought I left, didn't you?
Are you ready? It's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. LA's mega sports lineup.
It begins Monday, August 17th.
August 17th. Start your day with me, Keyshawn.
And the new morning show on 710.
5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you
Each weekday morning.
Then it's guys you see every day on ESPN.
Mike Greenberg.
Greeny is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710.
I mean, obviously not more than me.
But yes, Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Granderson?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new
710. It's Monday, August 17th. It's Keyshawn, Greeny, Max, Mason, Ireland, Sedano, LZ, Kaplan. LA's mega sports lineup
for the undisputed best sports talk in LA.
All new 710. It begins Monday, August 17th.
Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. It's Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa.
I think my appreciation for Kobe grew later in his career. When you started seeing what he was doing in 2009, 2010, those years where Kobe had to kind of play a little bit different of a role. This was completely different than what he was accustomed to back in the Shaq days. But back in those Shaq days, and we'll use 2001 as an example, Kobe thrived in those moments. They didn't faze him. I mean, if you're a player in your rookie year taking the final shots in that 96-97 playoff run, I don't even think it matters whether Kobe hit those shots or he airballed them. The fact that he was okay to fail, the fact that he was okay for media and everybody else to say, well, why is Kobe taking those shots? He's a rookie. The fact that he was okay with all that, I mean, that's the definition of fearless.
Don't miss Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa. Monday night at 6:30 after Mason and Ireland on 710 ESPN. Your home for Lakers basketball.
Listening to the Lakers postgame show.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers. It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
Now, here's Alan Sliwa.
Toronto can retake the lead if they score here. Van Fleet down the middle all the way. Kicks it to a wide-open Anunoby. Another three, good again. OG Anunoby hits back-to-back threes from the same spot. The right baseline corner, and Toronto's back in front 78-76.
All right, that was tonight's Smooth Finish, brought to you by Corona. The best way to celebrate sports is with a cool, refreshing Corona in hand. So grab a Corona today and enjoy your game day beach. OG Anunoby was incredibly smooth for the Raptors. I mean, think about his performance tonight. I know Kyle Lowry's going to get a lot of the love. He should. 33 points. I mentioned shot 50% from the field, 12 of 15 from the three-point line or from the free throw line, and hit a couple daggers. But that stretch right there from OG Anunoby, Lakers had a lead right after Anunoby hit those 2 threes. The Lakers didn't have a shot after that. Outscored in the fourth quarter, I mentioned 35-22. So certainly one of those plays and one of those sequences that was the difference of the game. Okay, let's hear from head coach Frank Vogel. By the way, before we go to Coach, if you want to be a part of the postgame show, 877-710-ESPN. The final score tonight, 107-92, the Toronto Raptors. Here's head coach Frank Vogel, courtesy of Spectrum Sportsnet. He'll talk about the Lakers' loss.
Hey, Frank, Mike Trudell back in the studio in Los Angeles. So wondered how much you thought tonight was about Toronto's good defensive effort. They're a good defensive team, and your guys not being sharp was the biggest difference today.
A little both. They play extremely well. They're the second best defense in the NBA. We know what they give up. They flood to the paint and give up backside threes. I thought we moved the ball well most of the night and got a lot of clean looks and struggled to make shots, and that's part of the restart. There's going to be a little bit of nights where rhythm and timing and shot making is not there. So I would say a little bit of both.
Frank, how do you look at games like this and even the next several that you're going to play before the playoffs? That you mentioned that balance between health and rhythm. Where do you need to focus most as you try to get there before the playoffs start?
Well, we're just measuring both. We got to continue to work on, obviously our rhythm and timing, and we're working really hard on the defensive end, doing some really good things. Maybe that's why our legs aren't quite there with our shooting, but hopefully that will come. Our guys are committed to the defensive end, and that's the important thing.
Hey, Frank, it's Dave. How can you explain the disparity between AD's performance against the Clippers and his offensive output tonight?
Yeah, the Raptors double-teamed him every time he touched the ball, and he's a willing passer. He's going to make the right play. Again, we moved the ball well. We got backside threes and a lot of good action out of the double teams. We just didn't connect on a lot of them. Even still, when the team's double teaming as much as they were, we still want to get him more involved than we did. But I thought he did a really good job identifying the defense where the double teams where it's coming from, and finding open shots for guys on the backside.
Frank, you've talked about the importance of AC finding a little bit more of a role as a backup ball handler. Obviously, he did some good things tonight, but also had those key turnovers in the fourth. Where do you kind of grade that, and what's fixable about that?
He's done a good job improving with that throughout most of the year. But like we've been talking about, he's looking at potentially a bigger role, and he's going to be in those situations. And we had that one stretch. Our whole group was a little bit out of rhythm during that stretch. He had a couple of those turnovers, but he's doing a great job for us. On both ends of the floor, and he'll be fine with that.
Actually, I have a follow-up. You last played them 9 months ago, and they had some similar defensive effects on you guys. Was there a lot of similarities based on what you've seen on the court? Did they look like the team that they were before the hiatus in some sense?
Yeah, they won a championship last year. They're a great defense, so it's a good test for us. Again, we did some good things. I think we did some things better in this game than we did in that first game. In terms of moving the basketball, we didn't. A lot of times you do it the right way and you don't get the penalty, or you don't punish them, punish the double team. But I thought our spacing was better at times. Just didn't capitalize.
Hey Frank, is this the type of game and is this the type of team where a guy like Avery Bradley would have been very helpful to have?
Well, a guy like Avery Bradley is always helpful, but he's not here with us, and we're focused on the guys that are here. We had plenty to get the job done tonight. Just fell short. So we'll get back to work on Monday and try to get another win.
How do you again, Guli? There have been a lot of high-scoring games so far in the bubble, but I think a lot of people anticipated defenses to be ahead when this started. Did you anticipate that? Were you thinking like?
I always anticipate defense is going to be ahead of the offense. In a training camp or preseason, early in the season, it looked like the offense for us was ahead of our defense in the scrimmage games and early on in camp and whatnot. But the first two games, it's been the other way around for us. Our defense is performing really well. I think there's an element of, when you're working that hard on the defensive end, you got to make sure your legs are under you to make shots on the other end. So, I believe that will come. But you've seen different types of styles of play. Some teams, their offense is way ahead of their defense, like you saw in the games last night. But, we'll continue to work on both sides.
Okay, Joe Garden.
Danny struggled with shooting tonight, and you also said beforehand that you wanted to play JR some. how much of that of JR's run in the second half was wanting to get him in, and the other side was Danny not shooting it?
Well, JR coming in was more about putting AD at the 5, with the way they were double teaming him. More than anything Danny was doing. We believe Danny's going to make shots. He didn't tonight, but he'll have nights like that from time to time in his career. But, he's a proven professional shooter. You know what I mean? And I'm sure he'll bounce back next game.
Last question, Anthony Slater.
Yeah, Coach. Anthony Davis only took 7 shots tonight. You kind of mentioned part of the reason, their scheme to double him. But do you want him, even on nights like that, just go be assertive, go take 7 more shots, maybe try to assert yourself even through the double at times?
We do, and he did, and he was getting to the line. I think he shot all 9 of his free throws in the third quarter, if not, 7 or 8. So he asserted himself during that stretch, and like I said, they're great at flooding the paint and not fouling. So you have to play extra pass basketball. We didn't knock down shots on the backside. It wasn't our night.
All right, that's head coach Frank Vogel, courtesy of Spectrum Sportsnet. Okay, a couple things to take away from what Coach said, and I think this falls into the theme of what we talked a little bit about as we started the postgame show. Coach said that the Lakers got clean looks, but they just struggled to hit shots. Now, if next game all of a sudden those shots start falling and you shoot closer to 35, maybe 40% from the three-point line, and you don't leave 9 points from the free throws, then maybe this is a completely different story. Now, I will say I thought the Raptors played better than the Lakers. There's no other way to put it. As far as Anthony Davis goes, that was their strategy. If you're the Toronto Raptors, and I got to imagine a lot of teams in the NBA are going to take a similar strategy, you have to see if the Lakers are going to hit their jumpers. Because it's not like it's Kyle Korver or J.J. Redick, guys that are just knockdown three-point shooters, and they're going to hit them 82 in all 82 games. They're a threat. Lakers have some streaky shooters. Danny Green's a streaky shooter. At least he's been, this season. As is KCP and Alex Caruso and Kuzma. So Lakers have players that, yes, if they're hitting, we're in a fantastic spot. But if they're not hitting, then, you have to just kind of weigh the positives and the negatives. AD still got to the free throw line 9 times. I want to say he took all those free throws in the third quarter. But Anthony Davis had 1 point in the first half. He had 3 points in the fourth quarter. I understand AD is going to get doubled. I understand that's the strategy for the Toronto Raptors. But at the same time, the Lakers got to find a way to make sure that Anthony Davis isn't taking 7 shots. If AD took 14 shots, double the amount of shots that he took tonight, I would say that's still not enough looks. I mean, I could look at some of the different players. Markieff Morris took 3 more shots than Anthony Davis. Kuzma took 6 more shots than Anthony Davis. Dion Waiters took 4 more shots. So you understand the theme that I'm talking about there. As good as the Toronto Raptors game planned against the Lakers, I think what's equally as important is to make sure that obviously you still find ways to get Anthony Davis looks. LeBron James ended up with 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. We'll have LBJ coming up next. Stay right here. This is a Los Angeles Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
You thought I left, didn't you?
Are you ready?
It's coming.
It's coming. It's coming.
LA's mega sports lineup.
It begins Monday, August 17th.
Monday, August 17th. Start your day with me, Keyshawn.
And the new morning show on 710.
5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you each weekday morning. Then it's guys you see every day on ESPN.
Mike Greenberg.
Greeny is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710.
I mean, obviously not more than me.
But yes, Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Grandison?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
It's
Monday, August 17th.
It's Keyshawn, Greeny, Max, Mason, Ireland, Sedano, LZ, Kaplan. LA's mega sports lineup
For the undisputed best sports talk in LA.
All new 710. It begins Monday, August 17th.
Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. It's Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa.
I think my appreciation for Kobe grew later in his career. When you started seeing what he was doing in 2009, 2010, those years where Kobe had to kind of play a little bit different of a role. This was completely different than what he was accustomed to back in the Shaq days. But back in those Shaq days, and we'll use 2001 as an example, Kobe thrived in those moments. They didn't faze him. I mean, if you're a player in your rookie year taking the final shots in that 96-97 playoff run, I don't even think it matters whether Kobe hit those shots or he airballed them. The fact that he was okay to fail, the fact that he was okay for media and everybody else to say, well, why is Kobe taking those shots? He's a rookie. The fact that he was okay with all that, I mean, that's the definition of fearless.
Don't miss Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa. Monday night at 6:30 after Mason and Ireland on 710 ESPN. Your home for Lakers basketball.
The Lakers are back. The road to the playoffs continues this Monday as the purple and gold suit up against Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz. Coverage begins at 4:30 p.m. Monday with the Toyota Countdown to Tip-Off on your home of the Lakers, 710 ESPN.
KSPN Los Angeles. Your city, your teams, your station. 710 ESPN.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
It's the Lakers postgame show. Highlights from tonight's Lakers game. And your reaction on the Lakers line.
You're listening to the Lakers postgame show.
Hi, this is Rajon Rondo of your Los Angeles Lakers. The Lakers play here.
Once again,
here's Alan Sliwa.
All right, Lakers lose to the Toronto Raptors 107-92. Are we going to overreact? Of course we are. It's NBA basketball. It's Los Angeles Lakers. But give the Raptors definitely credit on their performance tonight. And, you know, keep in mind for the Lakers, too, these next 6 games it's all going to be about prep, right? Just getting prepared for the postseason. And I know I'm saying that now off a Lakers loss, but this kind of gives you a little bit of a gauge. Toronto's one of the elite teams in the NBA. Obviously, the Clippers are as well. You're 1-1 against these 2 elite teams so far in this restart. Points in the Paint all season long is sponsored by Vista Paint, locally owned, manufactured, and operated. And with over 1,300 Vista Paint colors, your perfect paint expression is at Vista Paint right now. And don't forget, visit vistapaint.com for your discount color sampler. Points in the Paint tonight, Toronto Raptors 40, Lakers 34. I don't need to sit back and get into that whole reason of why. We know why. If Anthony Davis just has 14 points, 9 of those are coming from the free throw line, you're going to struggle from getting points in the paint. LeBron James, I'm very curious to see LeBron's opinion on tonight's game. He ended up with 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, also had 4 turnovers, 7 of 15 from the field. Never really a flow to this game, and maybe a lot of that just has to do with the Lakers weren't able to hit shots. Let's get LeBron James' thoughts on the Lakers' 107-92 loss to the Toronto Raptors.
Hey, LeBron, Coach Vogel was talking about, you guys know what Toronto was going to do defensively, packing the paint, not fouling, and forcing you to hit shots. If shots aren't going down as a team like tonight, what are some things that you guys can do better to be more efficient on that end?
I don't think there's anything you can do better. You execute your offense to get the best shot, and we did that tonight. We went 10 for 40 from the three-point line. I believe a lot of those 40 of those threes are great looks, wide open clips after getting into the paint and knowing what they're going to give up. Then we just have to step up and knock them down, So, I don't think there's anything that you can do better. I mean, I think we defended very good offensive team in the Raptors, but we got to make shots. And when you make shots, it loosens up the defense, and we didn't do it enough tonight.
Frank said he thought part of that could just be that if you're playing really hard defensively, and he thought you guys were, maybe some of the legs aren't there at this point. Is that just getting more game reps? So you guys have been off for a while and trying to ramp up to that point until the playoffs start?
I don't know. I think it could be. That's an individual question to every individual. For me, personally, my legs feel pretty good. I and I was just trying to put the ball on time, on target, trying to run the offense, and try to get my shots as well. So, we've been out for a while, and I think the game legs will continue to come, as this this AAU tournament continues to go on. So, I'm not too worried about that. Our shooters shoot, and we got some great guys that can make shots from the perimeter, and they will make them.
Hey, LeBron, it's Dave. In the past, you said your patience is one of your qualities that you need to work on. Where's your patience at when it comes to this restart process and trying to manage where you guys are at versus where you expect to be?
I think only time will tell. I mean, I don't really have no expectations, right now. I think for us, we want to continue to get better and better. Use these 8 games to try to gear up for the postseason, but this is a different situation. It's a different circumstances. You've been out 4.5 months, and you hope that we can pick it right back up, but obviously it's going to take some time. We also added 2 new guys that's going to be in a rotation, with JR and Dion, so they're learning on the fly as well. So, it's all about the process. It's all about getting back in rhythm, getting back into timing, and go from there. But, every game is an opportunity for us to get better. I thought defensively we were really good tonight. I thought offensively we got some very, very good looks, but they just didn't go down. So, pretty okay with, the way we perform.
Tanya Ganguly?
How did you see Avery responding to
He responded great. We got guys, great looks. It's a numbers game. They put 2 on the ball. That means it's performing 3 on the backside. And he continued to bait the defense and got his teammates great looks.
Malagoon?
You guys are very close to clinching the 1 seed, and in a normal season, maybe that would mean lower minutes and maybe some games where you sit out. How important do you think is of the remaining 6 games is it to play that out to make sure that you guys get to where you want to get competitively?
Well, obviously health as well. That's the number one thing. And then chemistry comes in with that on the floor. So, going into the postseason as healthy as we can be after the 4.5 month layoff is what's most important. Clinching the 1 seed is their advantage here. It's not a home court advantage here, but, we worked hard to be the number 1 team in the West. Possibly the number 1 team in the league. Obviously, Milwaukee's still playing extremely well, but, we got this far, so we might as well try to figure it out and close it off the right way.
Joe Garden, please.
Fine. 2. First, there's a couple of plays, I think it was late third, maybe early fourth, you were out there, and there were some corner threes, and you were upset. There was, I think, a miscommunication. What was it? You guys, there was a couple corner threes, and you were upset that they were wide open. What was the miscommunication there?
Just in-game. It's all about in-game adjustments, in-game communication. We had some breakdowns. We just got to get better.
And then you're asked this question almost every year, but because the circumstances are so different, are you paying attention to the race for the 8th seed and your likely first-round opponent and how that's all shaken out?
No, not up until this point. For me, in this ball club, we're trying to get better every day. As much as when we're on the court, we want to get better on the floor. We have our film sessions, we want to get better on our film sessions. But I'm not paying attention to what's going on with the 8th seed right now, because there's too much that can happen. And then there's some playing games or whatever the case may be to decide that. So it's too far away.
Tanya, one follow-up?
Yeah, there was a point early in the fourth quarter you hit a 3, and you kind of, as you were coming back down the court, you looked into the crowd, where the crowd would be, and that's something you do during games. But was it disconcerting to look out there and see people like Rob was in the area?
No, it's not. It's just. When you have routines and you've been doing it for so long, you're just used to that. You're used to that routine, and you're just trying to make plays. I was trying to, put myself in a road environment. This was the Raptors' home game, so taking and making big shots on the road floor is something that I relish. I love, playing on opponent's floor. So I was just trying to have that mindset, going down the stretch of the floor.
Hey, LeBron. Coach Vogel was talking about, you guys know what Toronto was going to do defensively.
All right, that's LeBron James there, courtesy of Spectrum Sportsnet. So real quick on that, a couple things that he hit on. And this is one of the things that we were talking about a little bit earlier. Did you like the looks? Were the looks that you wanted, that you thought typically they're wide open shots. They're the right play. LeBron was adamant. Those are the looks that we were looking for. We'll hit those shots. I'm not worried. So that's obviously LeBron James pointing out, right as actually they started the interview, he mentioned the 10 of 40 from the three-point line, mentioned that the Lakers were struggling specifically in that department, and that's the difference of the game. Raptors hit, obviously a few more three-pointers for the Lakers, a few more free throws, were more efficient, more ball movement. Raptors played better. I mean, even if Lakers hit some of those shots, Raptors were the better team tonight for, a whole 48 minutes. But LeBron, most definitely not worried. Let's put it that way. He's not worried about the Lakers, and we know against Utah they get another chance. Anthony Davis had 14 points, went 2 of 7 from the field. A lot of conversation about AD. We'll hear from Anthony Davis coming up next. Stay right here. This is the Los Angeles Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready? You thought I left, didn't you?
Are you ready? It's coming.
It's coming.
LA's mega sports lineup.
It begins Monday, August 17th.
Start your day with me, Keyshawn.
And the new morning show on 710.
5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you
each weekday morning.
Then it's guys you see every day on ESPN.
Mike Greenberg.
Greeny is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710.
I mean, obviously not more than me.
But yes, Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Grandison?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
It's
Monday, August 17th.
It's Keyshawn, Greeny, Max, Mason, Ireland, Sedano, LZ, Kaplan. LA's mega sports lineup
for the undisputed best sports talk in LA.
All new 710. It begins Monday, August 17th.
Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. It's Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa.
I think my appreciation for Kobe grew later in his career when we started seeing what he was doing in 2009, 2010. Those years where Kobe had to kind of play a little bit different of a role. This was completely different than what he was accustomed to back in the Shaq days. But back in those Shaq days, and we'll use 2001 as an example, Kobe thrived in those moments. They didn't faze him. I mean, if you're a player in your rookie year taking the final
to the
shots...
Lakers postgame show.
Hi, this is Anthony Davis of your Los Angeles Lakers. It's time for Lakers postgame with Sliwa.
Hi, it's LeBron. The Lakers play here.
Now, here's Alan Sliwa.
All right, we appreciate you guys being a part of the postgame show. 107-92 the final score. Lakers 1-1 in this restart. 6 games left. Next game coming up against the Utah Jazz. We'll talk about that game in just a little bit. There's no need to waste time at the car wash anymore. Mobile Wash brings the car wash to you in minutes with everything necessary to bring your car to a full shine. It's the only app that offers on-demand car washing services wherever you are in SoCal. Download Mobile Wash now and use promo ESPNLA to save. So I spent a lot of time talking about Anthony Davis, his performance, only 7 shots, I kept blabbing on. We got a chance to hear from head coach Frank Vogel. He addressed that as well. And then LeBron James touched a little bit about specifically on the shots that the Lakers were getting. He liked the shots that the Lakers were getting. Lakers just couldn't hit any of them. Shot 35% from the field, shot 25% from the three-point line. Don't be surprised that we're sitting here 48 hours from now after the Lakers take on the Utah Jazz. Some of those shots fall, and Lakers coast to a win against the Utah Jazz. I wouldn't be surprised. As far as Anthony Davis, let's get his thoughts. Tonight was kind of a weird game for AD. We don't see too many games like this. But I think it's a strategy that probably most defenses are going to rely on, especially if the Lakers have trouble hitting jumpers. They're going to take their chances and say, okay, well, if we got to double-team Anthony Davis so he doesn't get 30 or 40 points on us, let's see if some of these other players can come through. Those players didn't come through for the Lakers tonight, but like head coach Frank Vogel said, AD wants to make the right basketball play. The right basketball play technically would be to hit those open guys. AD did that. Here's Anthony Davis, courtesy of Spectrum Sportsnet.
Hey, Anthony, this isn't the first time that a team has been aggressive with you defensively, double team and try to get the ball out of your hands early. What are the things that you're trying to look at, and what are some of the counters that you want to try to employ?
I'm just trying to find an open guy. We knew they were probably going to double, and I was just making the right reads. Unfortunately, we didn't shoot the ball well tonight at all from the field or from three, which kind of let them continue with their game plan with doubling me. I think we'd have made a couple shots, then it would have definitely changed a little bit, but they had a good game plan coming in. Double team me and get the ball out of my hands and live with us making shots.
LeBron said that legs at this point of the season, it's just a unique case, so every player is a bit different. AD, wondered how you feel after these two seeding games, following the scrimmage games, and all the time off. How do you feel as the playoffs are now just a couple of weeks away?
How do I feel personally?
Yeah, just how do the legs feel personally?
I feel good. I didn't get a lot of time in the preseason because of the eye, but I feel good. I feel good playing out there. Conditioning is fine, so I'm ready to keep going.
Hey, D, kind of
Melissa?
Kind of playing off of the previous question. Frank said that a good amount of guys reported soreness after last game. I'm curious, after 142 days without playing a game, what it feels like to be back on the court playing these intense type of games.
It was good to get some competition in. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to play much in the preseason, so in the scrimmage games rather. So I felt great coming into that first game, and even tonight, I wasn't sore at all. So I had a couple more days resting than everybody else on the team.
Okay, Tanya Gangley.
Right. You also had a cut in your left eye. Did you get hit in both eyes? I had been wondering about that.
Yeah, no, that was in practice, yeah.
Were you did a couple of games? You've done a home game and a road game here in this environment. What is it disconcerting to that like if you look out into the stands, there's like no one there? Does it?
I don't even pay attention to it, honestly. It makes no difference to me. Like I said, when I play, I just worry about what's going on the floor. Before, the hiatus, I was still, even in Staples or on the road, in someone else's arena, I will always focus on the floor. I don't hear anything outside of that. So this is kind of what, I play through all the time. So there's nothing new for me personally.
The Raptors have beaten you twice and both times. Do you take something from seeing that team live, that culture they have, that you want to emulate?
We have our own identity. They're a great defensive team, obviously, but they do a good job of clogging the paint. I think they're like second or something in defense, but they're 29th in three-point field goal attempts, but third in percentage defensively. So they let guys shoot the three, but do a great job of contesting and making guys miss. So they're a great defensive team. We know it's going to be a tough game coming in. Obviously, they got us in LA as well. Defending champions, so that's up to them.
Last question, Dave McMenamin.
Hey, Anthony. I know you like to judge your guys' performance based on defense, and so even though you lost tonight, only gave up 107 points, which is still, below the NBA average. When you move forward and look to the Utah game and look to the rest of the seeding round, can you take some solace in where the defense is at and just feel like there'll be enough time for the offense, or how do you view where you guys are through two games?
Yeah, I think our defense is there. We had some, plays tonight that kind of hurt us. Calling jump shooters, fast break points towards the end. messing up some coverages. But I think our defense is there. I think we're where we want to be defensively, and even if we play a little bit better defensively tonight, some of the things that we control, we would have probably held them, less than what we gave them tonight. So, I think our defense is there. Offense kind of struggled tonight, but I'm not too worried about our offense. We'll find a way to make shots. As long as our defense is there, we'll be fine.
All right, that's Anthony Davis right there on the Lakers' 107-92 loss to the Toronto Raptors. Here's the good news for the Lake Show. First of all you got to do is win one of these final 6 games, or the Clippers have to lose one of these final 6 games that they have, and the West is wrapped up. Another, I guess you could say from a mindset perspective, good news for the Lakers. You got another game coming up on Monday. And some of these shots that the Lakers missed, Lakers hit 16 threes against the Clippers. Tonight they only hit 10. They took 40. You have to imagine that those shots will start falling. A guy like Danny Green that's struggling, or KCP, eventually these guys got to get themselves going as well. So for the Lakers, next game coming up against the Utah Jazz, so you're going to have some great tests coming up. 4:30 will be the pregame show. 6 p.m. will be the tip-off. So make sure to stay tuned in for that when that comes back around on Monday. For all those tuning in on our social platforms, stay with us. We'll keep going on 710 ESPN. We greatly appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Again, Utah Jazz this Monday, 4:30 is the pregame show, 6 o'clock is the tip-off. This has been the Los Angeles Lakers postgame show on 710 ESPN.
Hey, it's Keyshawn. Hey, it's Keyshawn.
You ready?
You thought I left, didn't you?
Are you ready?
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. LA's mega sports lineup.
Is you ready?
It begins Monday, August 17th.
Monday, August 17th.
Start your day with me, Keyshawn, and the new morning show on 710.
5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Keyshawn, Jay Will, Zubin, and Travis Rogers. Here with you
each weekday morning.
Then it's guys you see every day on ESPN.
Mike Greenberg.
Greeny is back on your radio from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. At 11, you loved him for years on 710.
I mean, obviously not more than me.
But yes, Max is back. Max Kellerman for your lunch hour. And at 1 p.m., my guys Mason and Ireland are back in middays until 4 p.m.
How about a little afternoon flavor with George Sedano and LZ Grandison?
Sedano and LZ until 7. And the LA Sports Talk Now don't stop until 10 p.m. each weeknight. Scott Kaplan holds it down at night.
The all-new 710.
It's
Monday, August 17th.
It's Keyshawn, Greeny, Max, Mason, Ireland, Sedano, LZ, Kaplan. LA's mega sports lineup
for the undisputed best sports talk in LA.
All new 710. It begins Monday, August 17th.
Monday nights at 6:30 p.m. It's Lakers Talk with Alan Sliwa.
I think my appreciation for Kobe grew later in his career. When you started seeing what he was doing in 2009, 2010, those years where Kobe had to kind of play a little bit different of a role. This was completely different than what he was accustomed to back in the Shaq days. But back in those Shaq days, and we'll use 2001 as an example, Kobe thrived in those moments. They didn't faze him. I mean, if you're a player in your rookie year taking the final shots in that 96-97 playoff run, I don't even think it matters whether Kobe hit those shots or he airballed them.
What's going on, Laker fans? All right, thank you for continuing. This is the postgame show after the postgame show, but the difference tonight is we try just kind of keeping this thing all the way consistent, all the way through. So appreciate you tuning in. Let's not waste any time. Let's do some roll call right now, all right? So if you're tuning in on any of our platforms, by the way, appreciate you doing it. I know we got it going on YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, Facebook, I think. Everybody's in. So thank you for doing it. Let us know where you're tuning in from. And as you guys know, I'll always read these off as the show goes on. So, okay. 92 the final. Toronto Raptors beat the Lakers. Talk to me, Laker fans. Raptors are a real deal. Like, let's not sit here and pretend that the Toronto Raptors can't win an NBA championship. Michael was telling me in the pregame show he thought this is the team that's the biggest threat to the Bucks.
I was trying to make a case and say, okay, well, what about the Miami Heat? Well, what about the Philadelphia 76ers? I was talking about other teams. But clearly for the Lakers haven't won. They haven't beat the Toronto Raptors since 2014. I know a lot has changed. I know the team's completely different. But we didn't beat them last year when LeBron was on this team. And we definitely have not beat them. Definitely haven't beat them, the 2 games that we played them this year. We played them November 10th, and then we played them obviously tonight. They look great. They honestly look fantastic. And I know we could find excuses, but sometimes don't you just feel like a team just comes in and takes care of business? A team came in and took care of business in the Toronto Raptors. So I definitely think that they handled business the way they were supposed to. And the Lakers, I think they got outplayed. As simple as that, they got outplayed. All right, Koreatown, appreciate you tuning in. San Marcos, thank you for tuning in. We're doing some roll call for those who don't know. Just tell us where you're tuning in from, and I'll make sure for it to be a part of the show. Okay, I got one thought here. So when I'm doing the postgame show number 1, one of the things that's always going on is we're getting a chance to hear from the players. We're getting a chance to hear from Coach. So we got a chance to hear from Coach. We got a chance to hear from LeBron and Anthony Davis. Here's my only thing on AD. I get the whole trying to make the right play, trying to find the open man. I get it. It's the right thing to do. If Lakers hit some of these shots, then nobody's going to be complaining, and Lakers probably end up with a W. The only issue I have, the one issue I have, sometimes you got to be more selfish. What I'm talking about there is 7 shot attempts. It's not enough. Third quarter, Anthony Davis started being more aggressive. He went to the free throw line. I want to say all his free throws were taken. All his free throws were taken in that third quarter. Went 9 for 9 from the 3-point line. Jamaica, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Somebody at his mom's basement, thank you for tuning in as well. That's completely okay. Dallas, appreciate you tuning in. La Mirada, Simi Valley, Goatman says Earth, thank you for that as well. But sometimes you got to be more selfish. You know what I'm saying? And what I'm talking about is he's so freaking good. AD is so good. Lakers got baited into taking 3-pointers. And, it's a smart game plan by the Raptors. But I don't feel like the Lakers really adjusted enough. I feel like the Lakers, Los Santos, thank you for tuning in. I feel like the Lakers just settled for threes, didn't try to get to the basket enough, didn't try to get to the free throw line enough. And when we did get to the free throw line, we missed 9 of them. So it's not like the free throw line was really helping us all that much. So kind of a combination of those things. Lakers hit their outside shots. Nobody's going to be complaining. But when you're not hitting shots, what you want to see the Lakers do is try something a little bit different. Try to get to the basket more. Try to be more aggressive. Oak Park, California, thank you for tuning in on Periscope. Somebody's in Magic City, Atlanta. Not sure if I believe you. You could be. You could not be. Not 100% sure. But either way, I appreciate you tuning in. Okay. Let me talk a little bit about some of the players that are struggling. Danny Green is struggling. What did Danny Green hit in the game against the Clippers? So Danny Green went 2 for 6. He went 0 for 7 tonight. I think 0 for 7 tonight. Yeah, so he's 2 for 13. He was 0 for 6 from the 3-point line. Danny Green's been kind of streaky all season, so this isn't a shock, a big shock or a big surprise or anything like that. I remember mentioning this. I would talk about this. I spent time talking about this when we were during the regular season. I would say there are games where I forget to talk about Danny Green for 2-3 games because he's just not that consistent. You get that a little bit with KCP. Even though I thought KCP had a pretty good regular season, these last 2 games he's been struggling. I guess the only thing I want to see from some of these players, you don't have to just take threes. Take a couple dribbles in, try and get to the basket. I think that's the one area from some of these Laker guards. They're so dependent on the 3-point line. Like everything is from the 3 or it's not. And that's obviously going to hurt the Lakers. But this has kind of been the theme that I've mentioned the entire time. You have to give a team credit. And I got to give the Toronto Raptors a lot of credit. They play good basketball, good team basketball. You watch them on defense, they're just all over the place on defense. They're able to switch a lot of their guys. They're so incredibly smart. Who would have thought a franchise, an organization that lost the finals MVP Kawhi Leonard still got a shot to win an NBA championship? That still got a shot to win an NBA championship. So that's a little bit of a surprise. You know what I mean? Somebody on here saying Raptors all day. Okay, relax. All right, calm down. It's a Lakers postgame show. I don't need to hear that right now. But you know, Lakers are going to be depending on their guys to hit jumpers. They didn't hit them tonight, and that was the theme. That's what LeBron said. That's what Coach said. That's what AD said. They were trying to make the right play. All right, can we talk? I'm going to just talk real quick about Kyle Lowry. Do you guys think that not having Avery Bradley, this is a perfect example of a guard that can go off on the Lakers because Avery Bradley's not there? It is what it is, by the way. Coach was asked that during the post game, and he said, well, these are the players that we have, so we're only going to talk about the players we have. But do you think that that's kind of a highlight of looking at Avery Bradley not being there, and you could see how that can obviously have an effect on the Lakers? I think it's definitely Adnan Akram says that definitely yes. Legend D says they're weak at shooting guard. That is an area for the Lakers where you start playing Damian Lillards and C.J. McCollums and Luka Doncic and Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Yeah, that's going to be the strength of other teams. That's going to be our weakness. But you know, we can also just say that it was one game and not make too big a deal about it. All right, let me read off a couple comments here. By the way, whatever topics that you have that you want me to get into, now's the time to start putting them in there. So I'm gonna read a few of these and then we'll go from there. Okay. D Inca on Periscope says, I thought Caruso was a defensive stopper. Why not put him on Kyrie? Caruso's, by the way, he's great on defense. There's a lot of times I saw him guarding Fred VanVleet. I think VanVleet struggled tonight. VanVleet, 13 points, only took 11 shots, so it's not like VanVleet went off. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think you're going to have to try, on Lowry. You're going to have to try different people. I saw somebody put on there, why didn't you put LeBron on him? Actually, not a bad idea. Lowry is so creative of so crafty and getting to the basket, drawing fouls, finding ways to get the shot that he wants, putting his body in between a player and the basket. I mean, he's incredibly crafty at all that. He's a good player. But 33 points, 14 rebounds, and 6 assists? I mean, come on now. Let's not make Kyle Lowry look like Magic Johnson out there, and that's pretty much what he was tonight. He did everything. He scored whenever he wanted to. How's Kyle Lowry getting 14 boards, getting 14 rebounds? I mean, I don't want to take credit away from him, but I kind of want to take credit away from him. He killed the Lakers. And Lakers had no answer. And they didn't even, Lakers really didn't even give up that many points. 107 points is not bad. Anunoby killed the Lakers. Pascal Siakam didn't even shoot well. Siakam went 5 of 17 from the field, ended up with 15 points. But let me read off a couple more of these. All right, let's see what we got here. 3 points. Perimeter defense is so bad. That's Polka. Tim Smith. Lowry had a career high in rebounds. He's a man on a mission. Yeah, I did not know that he had a career high in rebounds. That definitely was not, that I don't think anybody thought was going to be the case. Somebody's asking me if I'm doing the post-game show after the post-game show. This is the post-game show after the post-game show, man. I just did the post-game show. This is another one. I'm just talking to you guys now. Let's keep going here. Jack says Lakers not winning the championship at this rate. Everybody relax. Please, everybody relax. It's one game. I know we look bad, but we definitely got our chances coming up against Utah. And when you play Toronto just twice a year, it's probably tough to even game plan. Last time they played Toronto was November 10th. I think I'm starting to make excuses, guys. Sometimes our bigs are kind of unplayable. That's Reese B. Reese, you got a good point. There's certain matchups where, I see Dwight in there and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Or I see JaVale McGee in there and I'm like, nah, I'm good. And I know that's probably a little bit harsh, but it's the truth. There's certain teams where you don't want to see our bigs in. You want Anthony Davis to end up going big. You want AD to play the 5. So I think that's a great point right there. Andy Beast 1234 says, the Raptors are best at shutting down the best players. If the Lakers go up against Toronto in the finals, they will lose. Actually, that's a good question. Would you rather play the Raptors or the Bucks in the finals? Would you rather play the Raptors or the Bucks in the finals? If you made it to the finals, you got past the Clippers, you think the Bucks present more problems to the Lakers or the Toronto Raptors? I'll tell you this. We played the Bucks this year. That game on March, I think 6th, in LA on that Friday night when we played them. You saw how the Lakers did against the Bucks. And the Toronto Raptors, we played them twice, lost both times to them. The first time we lost to the Raptors, they had no Kyle Lowry and no Serge Ibaka. So they didn't have both of those players. I think those were the two guys that were missing. Let me read off some of these. August MD says he'd rather play the Bucks. Pokey says Raptors are the 2020 champs. I love Poke Bowls, by the way. Raps present more problems. Somebody here says they'd rather play the Bucks. Periscope has the Raptors. Adnan says the Raptors. I'm not crazy about our matchup against the Raptors. I don't like how we match up specifically against the Raptors. Especially now that, you start playing these games against teams, it's neutral court. That really hurt the Lakers, by the way. The fact that the Lakers, just the mere fact that they're not going to get home court, it's going to hurt the Lakers, it's going to hurt the Bucks. It's going to hurt some of these teams that had home court. It will probably benefit teams like the Raptors, benefit teams like the Clippers. Definitely benefits teams like the Clippers. All right, Blue and Red Stripe says Bucks would be easier. We almost beat the Bucks on Christmas. We didn't play the Bucks on Christmas. We played the Clippers on Christmas. Vancouver, Canada, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Okay, so next game for the Lakers is against the Utah Jazz. So if you guys got anything else, topics-wise, let me know now, because if not, we're going to start wrapping things up here. Adnan says, no King Taco after the loss. No King Taco, bro. No, you're right. No King Taco after the loss. No fist pumps after the loss. We don't do anything after the loss. After the loss, you know what we do? We don't watch Sports Center. We don't watch any highlights. We don't listen to sports talk radio. We do listen to sports talk radio, of course we do. But you know what I'm talking about. At least for a night, we don't watch any of the highlights. We don't pay any attention to that. So I think we're good here. Like I said, we're experimenting a little bit right now. So I took the original post-game show, Columbus, Ohio. Thank you for being a part of the show. We took the original post-game show, and we kind of merged it, tried to merge it with the post-game show after the post-game show. So we'll keep kind of trying things and go from there. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Give the Raptors a credit. 107-92, the final score. Who are we going to get the 8th seed, Allen? I think we'll get Portland. I think we'll get Portland in the 8th seed. And they'll be a tough matchup. We'll be fine, but Portland will be a tough matchup. But this is going to be part of the process. By the way, I can't tell you guys how good watching NBA is again. And we got freaking NBA all day. I mean, I don't even have time today. I'm telling people I don't have time to talk on the phone or prepare for the Lakers pregame show. I got to watch all these NBA games. It has been amazing to have all these games all day. So it almost feels like we are in March Madness or something along those lines. Okay, get the hell out of here. Go enjoy your weekend. Go enjoy your Sunday. Get back at you on Monday. Don't dwell too much on the loss. We got the Lakers and the Jazz coming up. 6 p.m. tip-off on Monday. 4:30, me and Michael Thompson will do the pregame show. Hope you guys can tune in. Monday as well, as you know, we'll have a full day of shows, so starting with a morning show at 6 a.m. So you guys have a good rest of your night. Have a good Sunday. Get back with you on Monday. Thanks, LA, and thanks everybody else tuning in.